to bring you up to speed with what you're waking up to. As far as news is concerned, we'll be taking a look at the dailies today, telling you exactly what the newspapers are saying as far as the governance of this country is concerned. We'll also be having a conversation taking stock of the week. A lot has happened this week, starting with Meg Whitman resigning from her post and actually leaving the country, and also the issue to do with AUC. Raila Odinga already launched his campaign in Addis Ababa. We'll be telling you exactly what that means for the country and whether it is going to kick off or not. Of course, with papers reporting that the government is already facing a cash crunch as far as this campaign is concerned. The Catholic bishops are calling out the president and the government for lies, saying that most of the programs and promises that were made during the campaign have not yet been fulfilled, saying corruption to some extent does not have to involve money, but when promises are not honored, and also the issues to do with abductions in the country have also been a subject of debate as far as the state of the nation is concerned. They've also touched on issues to do with security and, of course, what I've just mentioned as far as abductions are concerned, forcing the government, not just from the Ministry of Health, but also from the security docket, to actually respond to the clerics. We'll be telling you about that and why their statement has irked the government. And also, the cabinet yesterday did have a sitting, and they are saying the economy is looking very well, having dropped from inflation having dropped from 9.6% to 2.7%. But this is the issue. Kenyans are not feeling that yet because money is not in their pocket. We'll also be telling you what that means for you as a citizen of this country. Our conversation today is wide, taking stock of the week and what you're waking up to. Of course, I do want to take you through the news of the day, take you through the newspapers, and have a conversation that is going to be forming the agenda of the nation today with my panel later on. Of course, I'll be speaking to Professor Fred Ogola, who is an economist and governance expert, and also I'll be speaking to my other panelists, including IBM, who is a political analyst, and Obed, who is the Deputy Speaker of Trans Nzoia County. We'll be having that conversation later on here on New Dawn. So start engaging us on our socials. At Amoy Brian, that is on X, at K24 TV. The hashtag you're using this morning is New Dawn. Do tell us where you are watching us from and where you are waking up from, and we'll be having your feedback as we continue with the program this particular morning. Now let us take a look at what you're waking up to as far as news is concerned. And of course, you're talking about the Catholic bishops who have called out the government for its lies, saying that the faith-based organization are still owed money as far as the transition from NHIF to SHIF is concerned. Let's take a look at this particular story produced by David Kagina.
In a joint statement read by Maurice Muhatia, chairperson of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, the church issued a direct message calling out the government for its misgivings. The clerics condemned a culture of lies, unkept promises, and misplaced priorities.
The culture of lies is swiftly replacing the integrity and respect that Kenyans deserve. Basically, it seems that truth does not exist, and if it does, it's only what the government says.
The bishops voiced deep concern over recurring cases of abductions, disappearances, and extrajudicial killings, calling them appalling. They also condemned internal political conflicts within the government, which they said have deepened societal divisions and eroded public trust.
Who is abducting these people? And is the government unable to stop these abductions and killings? The government must protect the life of every human person in Kenya.
They denounced widespread corruption, accusing elected leaders of neglecting their constitutional duties in favor of public interest. The bishops also expressed grave concerns over the political climate, criticizing the government for negligence and poor priorities.
We are troubled by their heightened insensitivity and irresponsibility in carrying out their tasks, allowing themselves to be captured and compromised in corrupt deals.
They strongly disapproved of a proposed bill to extend the term limits for elected officials from 5 to 7 years, calling it retrograde and manipulative.
We have matters of national concern, such as the crumbling CBC education system, healthcare services, reconstitution of the IEBC, a huge block of educated but unemployed youth, and fighting the monster of corruption, among others, that are surely top priorities.
The bishops accused leaders of repeatedly making empty promises, particularly on critical issues like healthcare, and argued that recent tax hikes were essentially a disguised attempt to introduce the controversial Finance Bill 2024, which had faced significant public opposition. The KCCB reiterated its position that the government should use collected revenue efficiently and avoid overtaxing citizens.
This culture of lies, unkept promises, and misplaced priorities is unacceptable and needs to be dealt with.
Additionally, the bishops advocated for meaningful consultation with all stakeholders on key national issues, including taxation, education, and electoral reforms. They criticized the government for reducing public participation to a mere formality rather than genuinely involving citizens in decision-making process. The Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops continues to say that they've sought audience with the government to raise some of these issues, including the presidency, where they've seen no fruits. For K24, I'm David Kagina.
All right, thank you, David Kagina, for that particular report. Moving on, the number of people who perished in Wednesday's accident at Iguhu on the Kakamega-Kisumu Highway now stands at 13. Now, 3 of the injured succumbed while receiving treatment at the Kakamega Referral Hospital. Meanwhile, families of who lost their loved ones continue to troop the hospital's morgue to identify bodies of their loved ones. This story was produced by Electin Odera.
Dina Amimo is still coming to terms with the events of yesterday. Her daughter is among 13 people who perished in a grisly road accident at Iguhu on the Kakamega-Kisumu Highway.
Vile ilifika saa moja, nikasema hapana, mtoto wangu anafikanga kitoka college, anafikanga nyumbani mapema. Na leo ametoka college kitu kama saa 5, na mpaka wa saa hii hajakuja.
She was anxiously waiting for her daughter, who was on her way home from Kongoni Technical Training Institute.
Nimempata hapa mojari. Alikuwa amecheza kwa stage kweli kweli. Wakanionyesha vile mtoto wangu alikuwa anatoa mashairi hapo, wanamshangilia. Hata mimi nilifurahia. Kumbe nilikuwa nafurahia mtoto wangu alikuwa anawacha dunia.
She is not alone. Esther Masinde, wife of the driver of the Nissan, says she received a message from a friend about the accident moments after speaking with her husband.
Sijui nini iliendelea sababu nilipata tu magari matatu hapo. Nissan 2 na trailer. Sasa sijui ilikuwa namna gani.
Amia Bukasu is lucky to have survived from the ill-fated accident. She was in the vehicle that was hit by a lorry.
Nilikuwa natoka Kakamega and nilikuwa na my dad and my small brother. So actually mimi nilikuwa nalala, and then nikasikia tu a big bang, and then it was crashing. Alafu venye niliamka nikajipata the upper side niko nje ya boot.
As families of the victims continue to troop here to identify the bodies of their loved ones, the death toll has now reached 13 after 3 more people died while receiving treatment at the Kakamega Referral Hospital. Speaking after visiting the survivors at the hospital, Kakamega Governor Fernandes Birasa has urged road users to be more cautious, calling for the reinstatement of the Michuki laws.
The 2 Nissans that we are carrying passengers, we are also overspeeding. So it's the highest time that we have speed limiters being reintroduced, so that we can be proactive and take care of the safety of our people. It's also the highest time that the roadblocks, which had been removed from the roads, be reintroduced, so that at least we have regular checks on the vehicles which are unroadworthy.
Electin Odera, K24 TV.
Right, thank you, Electin Odera, for that particular report. Let's now take a look at matters education. Now, DCI officers in Nakuru County have yesterday arrested a suspect involved in cheating in the ongoing KCSE examinations. Now, Collins Kemboi is said to have many followers on social media who relied on his services. Now, this is not the first case, as leaked papers are claimed to be authentic, begging the question, has this year's KCSE exams been compromised? Majibu Kitau reports.
Cheating in national exams has become a recurring problem in Kenya. Since the KCSE exams began, multiple cases of leaked papers have surfaced.
Our biggest problem in our examinations are we adults, the parents in most cases, because when you hear people saying there is mobilization of resources to compromise our staff, the people who are mobilizing resources are not our staff. It is we as parents.
Today, DCI officers arrested a key suspect, Collins Kemboi, in Kiamunyi, Nakuru. Posing online as a 23-year-old woman, Kemboi had over 78,000 followers on Telegram and 8,500 on WhatsApp, using these platforms to distribute exam papers. His phone, communication cards, IDs with different names, and a driver's license were seized by the police. He is currently being held at Central Police Station, awaiting his court appearance. Collins is just one among others, including teachers who have been caught in exam cheating during this period.
I don't know what else you would want to risk your career to an extent that you do some of these things.
In a discouraging incident, 8 teachers were arrested and taken to Homa Bay Police Station on allegations of distributing copies of the chemistry exam. A teacher from Kunyak Secondary School in Kipkelion West, Kericho County, was also brought to court on charges of leaking the KCSE exam.
This on a bond of 500,000, which was relative of the same amount, a cash bill of 500,000.
Where is the problem? Why are exam papers available before the official start times? And although the Kenya National Examinations Council has vowed to take stern actions against those found guilty of cheating, there remains a gap as these incidents occur every year during the national exams. Majibu Kisao for K24 TV.
All right, now still on matters education, final year students across the country are facing growing uncertainty as the ongoing strike disrupts their academic progress. With just weeks left in the semester, many are unsure if they will graduate on time, as months of coursework have been sidelined. Now students are increasingly frustrated, calling for university leadership to stop using intimidation tactics and instead advocate for their rights, including the return of lectures to class, or else they will join the Monday protest. Now this comes amid reports of officials from Moi University being suspended for participating in the strike. Harriet Chimea reports.
Final year students facing graduation uncertainty are in a state of limbo as the ongoing strike disrupts months of coursework. With just weeks to go until the semester ends, many are left wondering whether they will be able to complete their studies. Brian Kinuthia, a 5th-year civil engineering student, is one of many feeling the impact. He says if the standoff continues, it could affect his career plans and his future, casting a shadow over years of hard work.
I had attachments that I had written out to, internships that I had written out to. And given that the strike has happened and some of those responses from companies were positive, I fear that if I do not graduate in time, I will not be in a position to grasp those opportunities, then I might be left behind. Another implication, I like to call it academic knowledge decay. That when you spend so much time out of university, your brain starts to forget some of the concepts, some of the things that you're learning.
Elton Butichi, a 4th-year anthropology and gender studies major, shares similar frustrations. He describes the disappointment and uncertainty of being in academic limbo Elton says he's considering joining Monday's protest as a way to demand action.
How comes when our lecturers maybe demand a small increment to their salary, there is no money? So at the end of the day, I think our government has just misplaced priorities. So I call upon all the students in all the 36 public universities to join the lecturers so that they can get what they deserve.
For many students, the concern isn't just about missed classes, it is also about mounting costs. At the University of Nairobi, they are paying up to 46,000 shillings per semester for campus housing, with little to show for it in terms of learning.
So there is no way a parent can be paying 46,000 for a hostel, and if you go to that hostel, the living conditions are very pathetic. There is no water, there is no clean hygiene.
Compounding the issue is the fact that students have yet to sit for their mid-semester exams, even as the semester is expected to wrap up by the second week of December.
These students, now they are busy doing things like playing station, like they are playing these virtual games. Others, they are playing pools. And at the end of the day, the government will not compensate these students. So I think now the government, since it has wasted the students 1 month, they'll have to also add them 1 month so that they can complete the syllabus on time.
For those still in school, the struggle to catch up on coursework is real. While some are diving into textbooks, practicals remain a significant hurdle. The message to university leaders is clear. They want genuine support, not intimidation, and they want their lecturers back in class.
So it's not just dialogue, but for the government to just be people of their word. If you have agreed with lecturers that you'll increase their salary, perhaps if there are any memoranda of agreement, perhaps if there are any CBAs that have been signed, that the government should just keep their word.
This standoff comes at a time when some officials from Moi University have been handed suspension and show cause letters for their participation in the strike. Harriet Chimea, K24.
Now, the autopsy results of a student who was fatally stabbed at China's Boys Secondary School in Nakuru County has revealed that the 18-year-old boy succumbed due to 2 deep stab wounds in the chest and abdomen. And as Bentura Kwaboka reports, the cut severely damaged his heart and vital organs in the abdomen.
As detectives try to unravel circumstances under which an 18-year-old boy student at China's Boys was killed by his school peers, an autopsy report has revealed the victim succumbed to stab wounds.
Postmortem ilikuwa inafanywa leo na tumepata alidungwa na kisu mara 2 hapa kwa tumbo na kwa kifua.
An autopsy conducted at Nakuru Level 5 Hospital provided insights into the fatal injuries. Government pathologist Dr. Titus Ngulungu, who performed the examination, confirmed that Vincent's heart was critically damaged by a deep stab wound to his chest. A second wound to his abdomen caused extensive harm to vital organs, leading to his untimely death.
Ilimuua ni ya kifua. Juu ilidunga paka ikafika kwa roho. Imedunga paka roho. So ndio daktari amesema hange survive na hiyo ndio ilifanya akakufa vile alidungwa, hata kabla ya kufikishwa hospitali alikuwa ameshakufa. So hiyo kisu ya roho ndio ilimuua kabisa. Alafu hii ilitoa matumbo yote nje. So at least ingekuwa hiyo moja, maybe angetibiwa na angesaidika ama angepona.
The weapon used in the attack is yet to be recovered, although reports suggest that the key suspect, a Sudanese national, used a broken piece of glass to carry out the stabbing. At least 8 boys have been apprehended in connection with the murder. 5 of those had reportedly been suspended from school and will be taking their exams at Mbaruk Police Post and Gilgil Police Station. The main suspect in the stabbing had fled the scene to Nairobi but was lured back to the school. The suspects are currently being held in custody as they await further legal proceedings. They are expected to appear in court on the 25th of this month for mention of the case. Bentura Kwamboka for K24 TV, Nairobi.
All right, thank you, Bentura, for that particular report. Away from that, we move to President William Ruto has commended his government's efforts in reducing the inflation rate by 2.7%, reflecting a drop in the prices of various commodities, including maize flour. Now, however, as Amelia Kisienya reports, this positive development comes amid ongoing criticism from various stakeholders who argue that the government's actions are harming the economy and the ordinary citizen.
As critics continue to fault the Kenya Kwanza government for failing the common mwananchi in effecting its promises to stabilize the economy, the government is adamant that it has achieved success in its economic measures. This is after President William Ruto met his cabinet ministers in his first meeting with the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, where he was briefed on the impressive stability of the microeconomic situation in the country following 2 years of deliberate fiscal management measures.
You will give us understanding and wisdom.
In the report, the inflation rate has dropped to 2.7% last month, down from a high of 9.6% in September 2022, a factor which he attributes to the decline of prices of various types of food, particularly maize flour. The campaign promoting the government's successes, dubbed Ruto Delivers, is also being actively pushed through President Ruto's social media platforms. This initiative follows the controversial push for the SHIF health cover, which has faced severe criticism.
Welcome to this cabinet meeting.
President William Ruto also hosted his first ever cabinet meeting with Deputy President Kithure Kindiki at State House. The meeting focused on ministerial performance and preparation for the new performance contracts for cabinet and permanent secretaries under the broad-based government. On Wednesday, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki chaired his first cabinet meeting, setting the stage for today's event. Meanwhile, the president is scheduled to deliver his State of the Nation address to Parliament next Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Amelia Kisienya, K24 TV.
All right, away from that, we go to matters health. Now, despite the government's claim that over 14 million Kenyans have enrolled in the Social Health Insurance Fund, only around 700,000 have contributed to the October deductions. Now, this gap raises concerns about the system's ability to deliver on its promise of affordable quality healthcare, free of charge, as the government has pledged. Rubio Mondi has more on this unfolding story.
Even before the announcement of the launch of the new health insurance fund, the government was required to provide 50 billion shillings to effectively fund the system. However, the ministry received 6 billion shillings only.
We are looking at a new system that is grossly underfunded, projected to cost about 275 billion in the long run to make it fully functional, but is funded at 6 billion.
Despite claims that over 14 million Kenyans have been onboarded to the system, only 700,000 have contributed to the fund.
You can make presumptions that the real verified data could be about maybe about 4 million verified with fingerprints. So we still have a lot to do because these persons cannot still access services if they're not confirmed on that portal.
Members of Parliament who passed the bill are now questioning its effectiveness. They have called for an additional 275 billion shillings to make the system sustainable and successful.
Where we have all these multi-agencies that have brought us into this crisis, yet we bought a machine for nearly 104 billion.
How much has this particular program allocated for the purchasing of equipment?
A lot of us would want to sit here and pretend that we understand and know. Me, there are a lot of things I don't understand about this, and I passed this law here. What about ordinary Kenyans?
Majority leader was teasing people. They do not know the SHA, the SHIV, and the rest. And he's the one who's telling them, waving to them, say yes, say yes.
In addition, many Kenyans who continue to face financial hardship remain skeptical about the insurance, with many failing to register for the scheme.
Tatizo lao kubwa hawajaelewa SHA na SHI ni nini. Hiyo ndio tatizo kubwa. Na jinsi itawasaidiaje katika hospitali. Yaani hawana elimu yoyote. Wale wa mama ambao wako kwa kijiji, ule mama mboga hana simu. hana simu ambayo inaweza mueleza, wengine hata hawana simu, mama wakungu hata wengine hawawezi tumia.
The question remains whether the system will live up to its promises or if it is another initiative that will struggle to benefit people it was meant to serve.
This new program is a total confusion, it's a total mess. Our people don't know what to do, and we must go back to the drawing board.
If the health system is not working, a lot of the poor people can't access healthcare system. There is a problem.
Robbie Omondi, K24.
All right, 6:25. That story by Robbie Omondi takes us to our first break here on the program. But before we do that, I do want to introduce my guests here who have made their way to the studio to help us have a conversation and make sense of the events this week. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
We'll start with Professor Fred. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, it's a good morning, and we are looking forward to engage with Kenyans.
Okay.
Yes.
Aibe Madenge.
Yes, good morning.
Well, good morning to you.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Since I came to this table. But I'm happy.
Once again, you return. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you.
And of course, Obed Damwale, how are you?
I'm fine, good morning.
The people of Trans Nzoia, what are they saying? Are they part of this country in terms of what you're feeling as far as the economy is concerned?
Of course, the people of Trans Nzoia are actually great stakeholders in the management of this country, and I'm sure they are ready and willing to listen to the conversation.
Oh, good. Of course, so we are having a conversation this particular morning, trying to, look at the events this particular week. We have the issues to do with the Catholic bishops actually issuing a statement, forcing the government to come out and issue more statements in just responding to that one particular statement. We'll be trying to make sense of that and what influence these particular bishops do have when it comes to matters politics and governance in this particular country. Also, one person is heading to the AUC. Why is it important for him to leave the country? What does it mean for the nation? We'll be getting into that. And Meg Whitman resigned. So that is a conversation that you do not want to miss here on this particular program as we take stock of the week this week. We are taking a break. We'll be back in a few.